evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Phil Parent, and I'm an advocate for the San Francisco 49ers, more commonly as Brock Purdy. Now, a year ago today, Brock Purdy started his first NFL game, which was against who, ladies and gentlemen?
Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Tom Brady, the hometown hero on his retirement tour, came into Levi's Stadium, and he was embarrassed by the next big thing, Brock Purdy. Now, a year later, Brock Purdy has his ups and downs, but currently, as we stand today, he is statistically, not even biasly as a fan, the best quarterback in the NFL today. Now, we'll probably talk a little bit about that, ladies and gentlemen, a little bit later on, but welcome to tonight's 20th of November edition of the Third and Long podcast. It is Thanksgiving week. We've got lots to talk about from the weekend. But I'm going to start with the youngest first, to the little nipper of the family, little baby Hope. How are you, baby?
I am good, enjoying a victory Monday from the San Francisco 49ers and Brock Purdy's perfect passer rating game.
Ooh, thank you very much for using that one. Next, we are doing the next eldest person past me. Started a new job today, working for the pension fund. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you are of the age of 65 and your pension has not come in on time, you know where to contact him at Shane Harris on X or Twitter. Shano, good evening.
I'm going to kill you. And also, I regret asking him to host the show. Thank you for taking off my duties. Not too bad, Mr. Perrins. Much like Baby Hope, enjoying a fantastic victory Monday as the same as he is.
And above us, maybe the Al Michaels of the organization, maybe even the John Madden of the Third and Long podcast. He is the elder statesman. I look at him as an elder brother, not an elder father, an elder brother in the Third and Long podcast. Oliver Butler Henderson. Hendo, how are you doing tonight?
I'm enjoying not having to worry that the Patriots ruin my weekend.
I mean, it's funny that they say elder and wiser, but he's a Patriots fan, so he's definitely not wiser.
Yes, but if we take like a massive step back and we go back like 20 years when the dynasty was first occurring, I mean, that's when Hendo would have been in his early 20s and gone, oh, I'm going to support the Patriots. Like my Manchester United, they'll just keep winning.
Yeah. But so, if we go back 20 years, I was 5.
Yeah.
Can I just say, I've been a United fan since I was like 6, mate, which is not 88. We were shocking then.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. Things go in cycles. And speaking of cycles, it's been since 1994 since we've last won the Super Bowl. And it's coming around in cycles again. And I think we're going to win the Super Bowl with the next Joe Montana, Steve Young, Brock Purdy. Gents, where are we going to start to tonight? Or are we going to start?
Can I tell you where we can start?
Can I just jump in really quickly? You've got the worst record than the Detroit Lions. Just going to put that out there.
What? We don't have a worse record than the Detroit Lions.
We do.
I thought you meant all-time record, because I mean, like, we've won 5 Super Bowls. That's
no. Can I just jump in? You guys have the reverse of the Detroit Lions. In fact, you are worse than the reverse of the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, it is what it is.
So be quiet. The adults are speaking.
That's
gentlemen, handbags.
Let's go back to then. Let's steer ourselves back to Thursday night's football. I think I actually said that the Bengals were going to win, and oh my God, did I take a massive L on my sandwich Friday morning?
I think we all said the Bengals were going to win, didn't we?
Yeah, and I think it came down to the fact that we didn't believe that the Ravens could bounce back from what happened against Cleveland. But, I mean, we'll talk about the game anyway. Shane, do you want to start us off? But, I mean, the biggest talking point is probably going to be a certain MVP caliber quarterback who will not be seeing the rest of the season.
Dirty from the Ravens. Dirty Ravens.
What do you mean, dirty Ravens? He knows the risks that are involved in football the same as anybody else. So, apparently Joe Burrow is now out for the season. But again, if they, there was also another significant injury on Thursday night to, again, my opinion, the best tight end in the league, Mr. Mark Andrews.
Yeah.
Top 10 just.
Don't be daft. But apparently, John Harbaugh said at a press conference this afternoon that it's not as bad as they think. Not as bad as what they initially thought.
They have to go
So he
deep
may
in
be
the
pulling
playoffs for him to
Aaron Rodgers
play.
on us.
I read outside chance he'll be back this season.
Yeah.
Don't
rush him back.
I heard it needs to be a deep playoff run for you guys if you want to see him again this season.
Divisional, at least.
As I said, don't rush him back. You guys, Isaiah Likely and Charlie Kolar, and the other weapons that Lamar has also, I wouldn't rush him back. So the Ravens won 34 points to 20. I thought we played well, and the fact that we had black jerseys on, the crowd were asked to wear black. It was a night game, and it was a very, very different, intimidating atmosphere at the bank on Thursday night. It looked amazing, and the fact that, as I said, but I don't wish injuries on anyone. Joe Burrow, it's a shame that he's out for the season, but I effectively think that kills the Bengals' season dead in the water as well. What do you think?
Can I just ask, why were the Ravens wearing black on Thursday? Is it to commemorate the death of the person that Ray Lewis killed 20 years ago?
Are we still on about this?
Sorry, well, it was in Baltimore, so I didn't realize. I didn't know whether or not that was was it Color Rush Day? I should say essentially. Was it Color Rush?
No. Just a little gimmick, and I think it worked well. It looked really nice on the players, and again. Gus Edwards running for another 2. He's becoming a very, very dependable back in the red zone.
All aboard the Gus bus.
100%.
The end zone.
I love it. I love saying that. And also, I've got to give someone credit who I didn't think was a good addition in preseason. And Hendo can back me up on this because he played for his Pats for a long time. Nelson Aguilar. He scored again on Thursday night. He's been a fantastic signing. I suppose when you don't expect much of someone. Yeah. And his little flip as well at the end.
I enjoyed his somersault into the end zone.
That was cool. Jackson threw for 16 of 26, 264 yards, and again, 2 aforementioned touchdowns. The next game we have is against the Chargers in the late slate of games now this coming Sunday, and I can see us being 9-3 at the end of the night.
That's nice segues. That's really nice to see to Ollie, who wants to talk about the Chargers this week.
Yes, the Chargers versus the Packers. What a game. Not. So I think the biggest talking point in this game, as the biggest talking point in the Ravens game, was a injury to an offensive Pro Bowl player, was to a defensive Pro Bowl player, as Joey Bosa was cast off the field in the first quarter, I think, and we will not see him again this season.
What's the injury being confirmed as? Because I've not seen anything about it yet.
It's a foot injury. I've not seen they've not said exactly what it is yet, but it's likely to be out for the season. However, the other injury I want to talk about is the Aaron Jones knee injury, which Matt LaFleur has said is not expected to be serious.
That's impressive because that knee's not meant to bend that way.
No.
If you're squeamish, don't go and look at that video because the knee is literally 90 degrees the wrong way. It is disgusting.
Justin Herbert went 21 for 26 for 36 with 260 yards, 2 touchdowns, and also rushed for 73 yards off 8 carries. Jordan Love went 27 for 40 for 322 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions. And I mean, it was quite a back and forth game, to be honest, because it was close throughout. And then I believe it was Romeo Doubs that caught the winning touchdown in the final quarter. The Chargers probably should have won the game, but the best play of the game for me was probably the Jaden Reed touchdown.
Oh, the jet sweep.
The rookie got the jet sweep, and then Luke Musgrave, the rookie tight end, threw a great block to allow Reed to get into the end zone for the touchdown. And interestingly, Jaden Reed, the wide receiver, was actually the leading rusher for the Packers in the game. There was that drop by Quentin Johnson at the end that was absolutely diabolical.
Almost as bad as the Keenan Allen one in the end zone.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if you guys have seen Brandon Staley's press conference afterwards.
Oh, he went off, didn't he?
He's not happy at all, is he?
Stop asking those questions. I will be calling the defensive plays.
He's just
surely
warming up
he's
his seat.
got-
That's all it is.
Surely he's got to go now. He's meant to be a defensive coach, and the defense is the problem with these Chargers. They can score points, but they can't stop people getting in the end zone. Yes, no Joey Bosa, but who do they still have? Khalil Mack, Derwin James, Asante Samuel Jr. They still have good
Kenneth Murray
players.
Jr. He's a good linebacker.
Yes, Eric Kendrick. They still have great players and should be able to stop teams, but for some reason, with Brandon Staley, they just can't, and he needs to go for the good of the Chargers franchise.
It's nice to see Christian Watson finally turn up this season as well.
Not really.
Well, he scored a touchdown for the first time this season.
But I mean, Christian Watson, two receptions for 21 yards. He was still pretty anonymous.
I mean, I think they'll stop the rot after the Baltimore game because, in all honesty, I'm not just being biased when I say this. I think we've got their number all day long.
Oh yeah, you should smack them down.
Yeah. Nice try.
You should smack them down like Devin Witherspoon.
Oh yes, very topical reference.
Devin Witherspoon, and who was the other one? Sauce Gardner as well, wasn't it?
Yeah. They've been watching their AEW this weekend. Yeah. So anyway, as I was saying, after the Baltimore game, they do travel to Foxborough, so they could get the train back on track.
More likely.
And then Denver.
I mean, we're going to get beaten by New York this weekend, so it's fine.
Denver's interesting. I know. I said Mike Tomlin for Coach of the Year, but I might want to change that to Sean Payton.
Oh, that comeback. We'll talk about that in a bit because, that was something else. So go around the game for the other games for Mr. Perrin talks about Raiders and I go on to the Lions game. Last second field goal from Hopkins was enough for the Cleveland Browns third string quarterback to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. You say about Mike Tomlin being in the Coach of the Year conversation. They can't beat that. Tommy DeVito has 3 touchdowns while Sam Howell has 3 picks in the Giant 31-19 shock win over Washington. Dallas Cowboys.
If it didn't cost me money, I'd be happy for him.
Dallas Cowboys rout over the Panthers in a 33-10 victory. Jacksonville seek revenge from their defeat by the 49ers last week by going to town on the Titans in a 34-14 win, despite Hopkins' brilliant little trick play touchdown. Love that one. Despite picking off CJ Stroud 3 times, it was enough for the Cardinals to beat the Texans as they lose out 16-21. Mr. Perrin, you want to go over the Raiders?
Yes. So I sent these guys a picture earlier as I was going on for my bike ride. And I was listening to the Locked On 49ers podcast, and I've started listening to the Locked On Raiders podcast as well, because I actually was really more interested in seeing from the insider Raiders media fandom how they feel about like the past, let's say like the 4 weeks since McDaniels' last game up until the recent loss last night as well. The game seemed a lot closer than the highlights or even some of the stats actually might have dictated. Tua looked absolutely phenomenal throughout. I know, Hendo, you're not his biggest fan, you're not his cheerleader, but he looked absolutely phenomenal. And yesterday was another example as well of just reminding all the fan base who don't support the Chiefs, who don't support the Dolphins, how good Tyreek Hill is, because he is phenomenal. He is absolutely phenomenal. And I mentioned like the other night about the AFC as a whole, and I still think very much that the Miami Dolphins are a finesse offense with very little substance in their defense. I mean, they are currently like 7-3. They're 5-0 at home, whilst the Raiders are 1-5 away. So again, statistically coming into this game, The Dolphins are undefeated at home, while the Raiders have only won one all season. Aidan O'Connell proved again that he is not it for the next iteration, because I think already the Raiders are already looking to next year. I know they're still, they're in it in a 5-6 record, but there's no way with what's happened mid-season and who they've got under center that they're actually thinking about realistically making a shot at the playoffs. Aidan O'Connell, I was massively disappointed in. Again, he was a highlight in the off-season in their pre-games. But he threw for 271 yards, which was quite impressive. 1 touchdown, but 3 interceptions. 1 ultimately costing the game for the Raiders with 25 seconds left. And I think actually the standout player of the game was Jalen Ramsey, who had his little Jerry Maguire moments. Have you guys ever seen Jerry Maguire?
Yeah.
Right, so that famous scene at the end with Cuba Gooding Jr. where he makes that tackle, where he's getting the catch, and he's like on the ground and like he's not moving, and then the fans just started cheering his name, and he gets up. Jalen had his Jerry Maguire moment yesterday as well, where he caught the intercepted pass, and he was on the ground. He looked really, really injured. He didn't get up for a while. Then the fans started obviously cheering him, and he got up and he managed to get himself off the field. But Dolphins look really, really good. Raiders, please do not feel disheartened by this loss. It was, again, you come against one of the favorites for the AFC Championship game this year as well. So staying in it at 20-13, I was quite impressed. Just a shout out as well to Devontae Adams. He played really well yesterday as well. He looks like he's got his mojo back. He got 7 receptions for 82 yards, and he scored the touchdown for the Raiders.
I'm on ESPN. I'm looking right now. Okay, Tyreek Hill's average per reception is 15.5 yards. He's projected to get over 2,000 yards this year. 2,077 yards. Surely this guy has to win MVP this year. If he keeps this level up, he has to win MVP.
Yeah, he said before the season he wanted to get over 2,000 yards, didn't he?
That one reception, literally, I think he went quicker than the actual cameraman did.
Yeah. The pace on that slant route when he caught that ball, he was gone. You weren't catching him.
He's ridiculously good. He really is.
And it's lucky he came back because he went to the locker room with a hand injury, I think, in the second quarter.
I think it's a cut or something like that, wasn't it? I think he split some wedding or something. So he's had stitches from what I was reading it this morning. I want to talk about the Lions' comeback play game. So, who thought with 4.5 minutes left on the clock, with 2 touchdowns needed by Detroit and Jared Goff already throw picks, that Chicago are going to see this game out and win it comfortably?
I think what happened is they did a reboot of Jared Goff. They turned him off and turned him back on again.
Yeah, because he went off in those last 2 drives, and they got Jamar Gibbs going, they got David Montgomery going, they got their run game going. But the first half, Chicago was superb. Justin Fields had a really, really good game. Yes, he only threw for
Justin Fields is a bowler. You don't say.
He threw for 169. He rushed for 104 yards, and this is the first game back after his hand injury. So he was playing really, really well. And then him and his lineman had an argument. And it all went to, I can't say it, to pot after that. I don't know what I said about it. I don't know what to say about it or anything like that, but it went to pot. And then the Lions kind of like, we can play football now. And they went off. They were absolutely brilliant in that last quarter, scoring 17 points in the quarter, including the 2-point conversion and the safety, which I don't get why the lineman didn't just jump on it instead of kicking it out for safety, because you could have restarted and gone again. But yeah, it was one of those games, and it just shows for the first time in 45 years since 1962. So 50, 60, 61 years that the Lions are 8-2, and they are, I think, sorry boys, the best team in football at the moment. They really are. They're brilliantly, and they're finding ways to win games when they're playing badly.
Have you seen what Dan Campbell said about going for it on 4th down?
Yeah, If you don't like it,
The,
buy some bigger pants or something like that, wasn't it?
if you don't like it, buy some diapers and roll with it.
Yeah, it was. They are an incredibly good football team. They're incredibly good to watch. They're good on both sides of the ball. They got stars on both sides of the ball. Even when Armand Bar wasn't playing his best, because he wasn't, he still got 77 yards on the tiddy. Sam Laporta was a bit quiet considering what he's been the last few weeks. Yeah, and there was a lot of family connections on both teams as well, with the St. Browns and the Swells, and there was another name which I can't remember quite as well.
Do you think they have the playoff experience to make a deep playoff run, though?
They've got a very important young man under centre who has the playoff experience. He's gone to a Super Bowl. He knows how to get to a Super Bowl. Dan Campbell's a Super Bowl winner.
Rest of the team.
To be honest, I don't think it really matters. You could have said that about the Bengals 2 years ago.
Yeah, but I still think playoff experience is important.
I just think it's something about this team. I saw the locker room afterwards, and Hutch said when he got his game ball that there's something special about this team, and there is, and it's we all know the Lions are our second favorite team on this podcast, and we're happy to have that. There is something special about this team. They are playing incredibly well. Yeah, I could see them going deep in the playoffs. I really can. I could probably even see them getting to probably in the conference championships, possibly the Super Bowl. I know someone upstairs has got money on them to win the Super Bowl.
This is going to sound a bit controversial, but I don't think they'll make it past the wild cards.
They're going to be.
Their next four games. They've got Green Bay, New Orleans, Chicago again, and then the Broncos. I'd say they could probably win 3 out of 4, if not 4 out of 4.
They will be, when it comes to the Cowboys, they will already have clinched the divisional, which is on New Year's Eve. They'll clinch the division. They would have clinched a home field advantage, and they would have a chance to be the number 1 seed.
So what? They're 1 game behind the Eagles at the moment. 2 games.
1 game. They're 8-2, and if the Chiefs win and if the Eagles win tonight, they'll be 1 game behind.
Okay.
So they are. Let me just bring up the player picture. They are currently second. Eagles are 8-1. Obviously, they're playing tonight. Detroit are 8-2. I mean, your game back. Kansas are 7-2, so they can go 8-2. Obviously Baltimore are 8-3 at the moment. So there's the AFC is a lot tighter than the NFC, as we always knew it was going to be.
Do you mean the NFC is a lot tighter than the AFC?
No, the AFC there is 7 teams on 7 wins, and
I've seen the North on its own.
4 teams and 6 wins. Yeah, that's true. The North on its own, and Texans.
Yeah, sorry, because we were talking about Detroit and that, I thought we were talking about the NFC.
Brock showed up again, boys, with his perfect game. Carry on.
Go on, baby. Start us off.
Okay, so Brock did show up with his 158.3 passer rating.
Might get that tattooed onto me.
I still don't get how is that a perfect passer rating, because how is it not like 100? Why is it 158.3? I got to work out how they work that out. It's weird.
Because he was 21 for 25 for 333 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. A couple of weeks ago, Phil, you said you were disappointed with Brandon Ayuk. Since then, he has started balling out.
Yep.
This time, 5 receptions, 156 yards, 1 touchdown, including the longest touchdown pass of the year in the league of 76 yards. George Kittle got involved too at 8 receptions, 89 yards, 1 touchdown.
That was a blown coverage at the start of his play. That start of that drive.
Which one?
When they started on the 2-yard line, they had the run to get it to 4 or 5 yards, and then Kittle was in like so much space.
Yeah,
on his own.
that one. Yeah,
that was the biggest blown coverage of the day.
Debo also had 3 receptions, 63 yards. McCaffrey, 78 yards rushing from 21 carries and 25 yards receiving from 5 receptions, over 100 yards in scrimmage ever. Elijah Mitchell showed up a bit with his 4 carries for 24 yards at the start of the second half. Purdy proves he has legs, 14 yards from 4 carries, getting some crucial first downs. But on the other side, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense also played well. Baker Mayfield was 29 for 45, 246 yards. Rashad White scored the touchdown, and Mike Evans scored a touchdown. But what about the birthday boy, Fred Warner? 12 total tackles, 10 solo, half a sack, forced fumble. He had a hell of a game on his birthday.
Was it his
And
birthday, was it?
also,
Yeah.
however, as it's come out today that we tweeted earlier, we have lost Talanoa Hufanga. He has torn his ACL and is out for the rest of the season. But however, Jair Brown came in, the rookie, first snaps of the
He
year.
was at fault for the touchdown.
He was a touch fault for the touchdown, but also had 2 PBUs and a very, very crucial interception. And I'm excited to see how he performs in the rest of the season. Now he's going to have reps with the ones.
I want to see. I wonder how the commentator feels after he said that Rashid White literally broke Hafanga's ankles.
I mean, you can see. He's been playing with a Baker cyst all season. So, as bad as it sounds, I think this was gonna happen sooner or later.
He's been playing with a what? Sorry.
Baker cyst. It's like a bit of fluid that builds up behind your knee.
Yeah.
Okay. I never knew that. Fair enough.
See, every day is a school day.
So, is there anything you want to add, Phil, to that?
Yeah, I mean, I do distinctly remember like me saying after Brandon Ayuk won the vote on which jersey I would purchase on my birthday, and yeah, I stand by what I said. I didn't particularly think he had a good month, but I think obviously listening to the podcast and taking our criticisms to heart, he's actually balling out and he's actually proven to be quite the elite wide receiver. I also think as well, as great as Brock Purdy is, I think having Trent Williams protecting him is giving him a lot more confidence in the pocket as well. Again, you cannot underestimate how important, especially if you've never played the game, how important having like a left tackle or right tackle, depending on what ball you throw the ball with, or what hand you throw the ball with, sorry. So having like, Trent Williams, at your back, I mean, because he got sacked once yesterday, and that was because Trent just missed the blocking scheme. But other than that, Brock was safe all game, and I was actually really, really impressed with how well they kept him. And again, when you keep your star player upright, give him enough time to pass the ball around, yes, his noodle arm, which I think Nick Wright called him on ESPN, he actually, throwing the furthest pass of the season this year so far. I mean, Brock Purdy is slowly turning into, a top 10 quarterback if we didn't think he was already. I mean,
all he can do is dink and dunk, though, Phil.
Yeah, but then isn't that what the West Coast offense was built around? And Joe Montana was a dink and dunk specialist that went on to win 4 Super Bowls and 3 MVPs.
Tom Brady.
So Tom Brady again.
A lot of his plays was either screens to James White or crossing routes to Edelman, Moss. There wasn't massive deep plays to players. It was a lot of 10, 15, 20-yard plays. There wasn't massive plays.
And I think
can I ask a question?
Go.
I noticed during the game that Brock had something on his elbow, on his throwing arm. What is it? It's black, and it looks like a cooling type compression sleeve thing.
I think it's an elbow brace from the injury.
Yeah, it's an elbow pad. Usually the Brock has them on both arms,
Yeah.
No, but it was like, well, because he didn't have it when he was playing. He was only when he was on the bench. It's almost like, when footballers come off and they've substitution their knees and they got ice on their knees. It's almost like that, but like a massive cooling pad thing.
It possibly could be just keeping it from overheating. I mean, like a cold and hot compress, isn't it? if he's feeling a bit of, whether or not you feel, a bit too hot in your arm. It's like almost when you come out, or when you come back in from it being cold and you suddenly go hot and you just need to, you need to cool yourself. It might be something similar to that as well.
I don't know if you saw anything on the socials or anything like it.
No, I mean, until you brought it up now, I actually didn't even realize it. So he could have been wearing it he could have been wearing it all season, and we wouldn't have noticed. Also, I just want to bring up, because it was only because I was scrolling through Twitter yesterday as well as the games were on, and they were talking about reasons why now, running backs aren't obviously valuable, and why they shouldn't get paid a lot of money because of looking at how Ezekiel and even like Pollard to a degree, and how and Josh Jacobs and who's the one in Indianapolis?
Saquon.
I don't think
of what's his name, Jonathan
Taylor. That was it. Yeah, I don't think of it. If we're thinking about like an actual running back who is probably worth the money that he would be getting paid, is it not just CMC? Like, I'm not just saying there's a biased person, but like consistently, like I don't know whether or not it's just the 49er fan in me, or just the NFL fan in me, or even just like the defensive lineman in me as well, is that when he gets like absolutely mullered, I go, oh my God, Christian, get up, Christian, get up, Christian. But like, yeah, he's literally making holes and making plays. He's everywhere. He's not getting hurt. He's being used properly. He's getting the ball where he needs to be. He seems to be consistently the best back in pro football, and he's probably the only running back this season, like legitimately, maybe Mostert to a secondary degree, who seems to be worth the weight that he should be getting paid in the off season. Because I'm not overly impressed with a lot of the running backs. I don't know whether or not it's just because offensive coordinators are not focusing on much of them anymore, or just how disposable they can be. But I can't think of really anyone other than Christian that's not a superstar running back that a team does need to operate.
I think the Giants proved yesterday they need Saquon.
Yeah,
but the Giants are not bad.
Derrick Henry, Tennessee.
The Giants, and we'll get into that as well. Do you not think it's like weirdly scary that half of the quarterbacks that got paid big in the off season are out injured now?
Standard.
Because like Deshaun's out, Jones is out, who else is out? Burrow's out. Lamar's kept himself healthy. Herbert's kept himself chugging along. I just think it's kind of weird, like all the big quarterbacks that got paid in the off season, they're not going to be finishing the season.
Yep. Shayna's got a couple of things to say, but before we go on to what Shayna wants to speak and his game, despite scoring their first touchdown in 13 quarters, New York Jets still wasn't enough to beat the Bills 32-6. There was a couple of nasty injuries, a couple of college Bill players who got really beaten up, and Sauce Gardner body slamming Stephon Diggs.
That tail of that one was scary.
Yeah, it's mad how they went to the guy who was on the ground, not the guy who fell over. But yeah, Mr. Harris.
Yeah, just a quick couple of things we were saying about running backs. Does anybody care to guess the top 3 rushing leaders in the running back position this year so far?
McCaffrey
is the first one. Who's the next 2?
I think Henry's up there, is he not?
Henry is not.
Anche, whatever his name is.
Mostert?
He's not in the top 10. Mostert is second.
James Cook.
One more. Yes, James Cook. I didn't think you'd get that. Yes. Christian McCaffrey is 825. Raheem Mostert, 691. And James Cook is only 3 yards behind him on 688. Just wanted to throw that out there. Moving slightly off topic again, I saw something this weekend which I wanted to get your thoughts on. Obviously, with Deshaun Watson being out for the rest of the season, and I don't think Stefanski has full trust in who he has under center available on his roster at the moment, It looks like they're bringing in Joe Flacco. Gents, your opinion on that?
I think this is what my thoughts. I think they're bringing him in as a mentor rather than an actual playing option of somebody who can coach DTR well on the field. I think is what I saw from that.
Can I ask Shane, how do you feel? He's a Super Bowl winning quarterback with yourselves against these boys.
Had to bring that up.
When I read it, I felt like I felt like going, sorry, Joe, is this knife yours? You know, it's not as if he needs the money. He signed a mega money deal before he left Baltimore as well. He's also played for the Jets after that and the Broncos, I believe. So he's not exactly skint. He's probably doing it for the level of the game. But again, I don't see him starting. I think it's right what Baby Hope said. I think DTR and PJ Walker are going to sit under the learning tree of the former Super Bowl winning quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens, Mr. Joe Flacco. I don't like it, but I'm happy he's back in the league, you know, and he doesn't come back to haunt us.
I remember
he's gonna do what? Sorry, go on.
I remember Flacco in a press conference for Denver Broncos being like, we needed a field goal. How hard is to get a field goal? Not that hard. And we couldn't get it. We couldn't get to the field goal, and just going on a rant about how they couldn't. And I'm like, you're saying this, but like, you are a big part of it. You're part of the reason.
So if you look at these younger quarterbacks, Sam Howell's got Jacoby Brissett as his backup. CJ Stroud's got
Davis Mills.
Hey, Davis Mills, and what's his name? The other guy. Can't believe the guy's been around for a few years now. Brock's obviously got Sam Dowell, you know, and then you've got these younger quarterbacks need an older quarterback around to help them develop, help them seeing things. Like guys have been around with literally seen everything, especially someone who's won the Super Bowl and Joe Flacco. You know, Jacoby Brissett was around the GOAT. So he's going to learn things from there, so he's going to pass it down. So these quarterbacks have got the younger ones who are in their first, second year, and they've got these veterans alongside them to show them the game, go around like that. You know, it shows that it helps. And obviously, I think Zach Wilson would have had more if he'd have sat behind Aaron Rodgers and rather Aaron Rodgers not being able to get near ground for God knows how many weeks. And I do think it's absolute bullshit that the Jets have dropped him. And that's going from a Patriots fan. I think it's a shocking call. You know, when 4 of your 5 starting O-linemen is out injured long term, and so you're not going to get any pass protection, and you bench this guy who's had no luck over the past 2 years. Yeah, it's
do you not think it's protecting him?
Possibly, but you know, if I look at his stats, if we bring Zach Wilson's stats up for the last 5 games, where he beat New York, yes, he beat Philadelphia, who's got an incredible defense. Okay, he lost to LA. You know, he didn't throw any interceptions. He only threw an interception against Las Vegas, which was a Hail Mary going for the win at the end. And he was against Buffalo, which was, I can't remember the pick because I think I might have fallen asleep at the time. But he's been sacked he's been sacked 32 times in the last 5 games.
Wow.
This guy's got no hope. We said about Joe Burrow getting sacked all the time. There was a stat I showed the other time. Out of the same number of games that Andrew Luck played, he's been sacked 42 times more than Andrew Luck was sacked. Joe Burrow was.
And where's Andrew Luck now? Probably on his set, you expect.
If you don't look after your franchise quarterback or your backup quarterbacks, you're not going to go anywhere. Shane, talk about the Rams. Yes. Not the Rams.
I can. Yeah, Rams and the Seahawks game from SoFi. Just to look at this game on the outside looking in, there's so much star power in this team. In both teams. I've been a fan of the Seahawks this season as well. Their defense is looking really, really good, even though they've lost 3 games and now they've lost 4 after last night. They've still got many stars in that defense that could turn their season around. And the Rams, everyone knows about, obviously, the rookie phenom, Puka Nacua. Cooper Kupp made one catch last night, and then he went off injured with I believe it's an ankle injury. And he may not come back, according to Sean McVay. But again, in this league, stranger things have happened. Gino also went out for a while, and they had to bring in Drew Lock. And boys, Drew Lock is honestly but as much use as a chocolate teapot. He's
I'm hoping he's going to start on Thursday.
No, Pete Carroll said that Gino's on track to start on Thursday.
Yeah, but I heard Kenneth Walker isn't.
Yeah,
Kenneth Walker's for
I'm not doing predictions now, but I can, I don't foresee the Seahawks being much of an issue for a hit and raring to go Niners team. But yeah, Seahawks are pretty banged up. They are pretty banged up.
But it's not a prediction; it's a spoiler. You know what I mean?
Carry on, Mr. Harris.
Yeah, as I said, Matthew Stafford, 17 to 31, 190 yards, 1 touchdown and 1 pick as well. And I'm surprised how close this game was. It finished 16-17 to the Rams. The Rams are now 4-6. The Seahawks fall to 6-4. And yeah, as I said, I thought it was a really tight game. But that's pretty much all I got to say about that.
Can I just interrupt really quickly? So a couple of bits of news that have come in since we've been on the show tonight. Trevor Siemian will back up Tim Boyle. So Zach Wilson's not even going to be the backup QB, he's going to be QB3. So effectively QB4 now when Aaron Rodgers is back in. And the Panthers will not be benching Bryce Young. They are going to be sticking with him. Mr. Parents.
Why not?
Can I just cast our minds back to a couple of days ago in a conversation that we had in our WhatsApp group, where I said that there's a very strong possibility that Robert Saleh might be that knocked off with Zach Wilson that he might can him at the end of the season regardless. And there was a certain member in our foursome that said, no, he'll keep him. Would that person like to say...
I believe that person got some support from other members of the WhatsApp group also.
I don't believe I was one of them.
I honestly... last season, he got benched, and they were looking for. I mean, they had Flacco. They had who was the other one they had? They had
Mike White.
Yeah, they had White.
Mike
this
White
season as well. He wasn't even predicted to start. And then they've hung in with him, and it's got to the point now that Salah's that knocked off of him. And don't get me wrong, the Jets did not play well last night on either sides of the ball. But the fact that they were so bad and they've got progressively worse. On offense, I think this is the end of Zach Wilson being a starter and even a backup. He might end up being 30. He might have to go to Canada to resurrect his career because he's not going to be staying around in the XFL next year either. Hell, arena football starts next year as well. He might be playing in arena football, but I don't think Zach Wilson is going to be featuring at all going forward in the New York area or Jersey.
Just a little quick hello to Tarmac Panther, who's popped in. Is he? Mr. Hope.
So I think they would cut Zach Wilson, but if they cut Zach Wilson, the amount of dead cap they have is what he would be getting. So I feel like cutting him would be illogical.
Yeah, but then there's illogical, and then there's going, we physically cannot have him in this team. And when we've seen teams before just cut a player just to remove them, like almost like as a surgery, just to remove a ligament. And I'm not saying Zach Wilson is not a decent human being, but when you physically see over the last 2 years players, if anything, he needs a high five for that alone. But if you look at him like literally on the play, and you just see the players seizing this year, knowing that this actually was supposed to be this year. They've built this elite defense, and they have a pretty good offense to accompany it. And you just see, I'm not saying he's entirely the fault, but he is the focal of their problems. And I can't see that Salah's going to go into his third year as a head coach in this organization going, yeah, I'm just going to keep him. I wouldn't be surprised if he is cut. And yes, you've got dead cap space. You've got the money that is going to be owed. They might even try and trade him, but is the trade market going to be even there for him? Probably not. Who's going to want an expensive third stringer? Like, you're not.
Yeah.
How much are you willing to give up for Zach
Number 2
Wilson?
pick
He's not
altogether.
exactly, if there was one quarterback whose stock is lower than, Trey Lance was, it's Zach Wilson.
So this is a star-studded defense. It is a bloody good defense. When you've got the likes of DJ Reed, Sauce Gardner, Quincy Williams, CJ Mosley, Jermaine Johnson, Quinn Williams. There is a very, very, very good defensive side of the ball. But if your offense can't sustain drives, can't go more than 4 or 5 plays, and then it's game over, the defenses aren't getting rest. They're getting knackered. You see the frustration in it, especially when bloody Sauce Gardner slams Stephon Diggs to the ground. Sorry, I'm not au fait. I do not know the wrestling terms. I apologise. Okay.
We can help you out if you want.
And they are absolutely riddled with injuries. You've got, obviously, Aaron Rodgers. You've got a couple that they got their starting centre. They're one of their tight ends. They've got 2 main centres out injured. They've got their right guard out injured. They've got their left guard injured. They've got both their left tackles are out injured at the moment. Their right guard is out injured. Their second choice right tackle's injured. And then you go on the defensive side of the ball. They've got 4 pass rushers out injured. They've got 3 cornerbacks out injured on IR. They've got so many players out injured. This team is absolutely battered with injury. So you've got to give the guy a little bit of hope, and that's why I think it's going to be that one. Right, on to the late game. Denver Broncos carry on their revival.
Yes, they do.
Oh, it's niffing me, this.
I mean, Sean Payton has turned this team around. I mean, Russell Wilson looking good again. 27 for 35, 259 yards, one touchdown. Josh Dobbs also is still balling out. 1 touchdown, 1 interception, plus he got one with his legs. But apart from that, to be honest, it was a pretty low quality game.
I liked. Sorry,
Matson did rushed 18 times for 81 yards, but his fumble probably cost the game.
I could see them picking up a running back.
Yeah, I watched this game. I was watching the highlights of this game this morning. I'm like, why did the Vikings cut Dalvin Cook and extend this guy?
So there's a very good running back coming out of Michigan State called Brian Cohen. He'll be the number 1 running back out of the draft. He will end up in Minnesota.
There's also the Alabama running back, whose name escapes me. Him and Gibbs split carries last year. Gibbs came out this year, and is it McLennan?
Something like that, yeah. Yeah.
He's also a very good running back.
Cortland Sutton's now starting to play. They're finding Jerry Jeudy. They're finding they're good receivers now. They're getting their star receivers. They're getting plays. They're moving forward. They're doing really well with it.
Shout out to Josh Oliver, though. 4 receptions, 47 yards, 1 touchdown.
Definitely. Did we see what Sean Payton did to Josh Dobbs in the game? He went up to him and had a long chat with him after the game. Like pretty much saying how good he is and how well he's doing and that going forward and play that.
Yeah. But does this take Josh Dobbs out of the MVP conversation? Because apparently he was in it.
No, Josh Dobbs in the MVP conversation.
No, not me.
Well, I've heard people mention him in MVP conversation.
He's had 3 wins this season,
know anything
technically.
about football?
Or 4 wins. Is it 3 or 4 wins? 4 wins, technically, this season now. Surely that can't put him in MVP conversation. His stats aren't that good. 2,200 yards, 12 touchdowns, 6 picks. Yes, he hasn't had a pick. He had a pick last. He had a pick last night.
Pick last night.
Yeah, so that was his first pick as a Minnesota Viking.
at this point in the season, there's only 5 names realistically in the MVP conversation.
2 of them are playing
Tyreek
tonight.
Hill, Tyreek Hill, CMC, Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and Jaden Hurts.
Sorry.
I think Brock Purdy does actually legit need to be there.
So, statistically, the best quarterback in the NFL is not for debate for MVP. The man who threw less interceptions than Lamar and Patrick and Hurts is not up for MVP conversation. Is this what we're doing right now on the pod?
Phil, nobody believes in him. Only you Niners believe in him. Nobody else thinks he's that good. It's because he's playing in a good team.
Because stats don't mean anything in pro football.
The numbers don't lie. But I digress, as I said.
I also think Tua needs to be in there too.
Yeah. Tua.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Point I'm making is there's a wide gambit of people that could be considered for MVP. I just don't think Josh Dobbs is anywhere near any of those players.
I agree with you. I feel like Josh Dobbs is the feel-good story because nobody thought he was going to do anything and then he's playing well.
Yeah.
But people are taking it too far, saying that he's in the MVP conversation.
Yeah.
I take CJ Stroud in the MVP conversation before him.
Yeah. I think there's more than 5 people in the MVP conversation, but I don't think Josh
One of
Dobbs
them's one of them's a rookie.
CJ Stroud, yes.
So Sky Bets have got Brock Purdy number 5 at the MVP race at 16s.
After last night, he's got to be in the conversation.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of things. His odds have dropped since last night.
Richard Sherman on his podcast today was saying, if Brock Purdy was a first or second round pick, people would be saying him with the same breath of Mahomes and Hurts and things like that. But because he's last pick of the draft, everyone's like, we're waiting for him to drop off. We're waiting for him. It's been a year, boys. I'm still waiting. Where's this rookie?
But what if he played for someone like the Panthers or the Cardinals or the Pats even? Would he be as good as he is? He's playing well because he's got a good team around him. Even I could play for Barcelona, and I'd look good because they make me look good.
What if Brady played for the Broncos or the Browns? He wouldn't be the player he was. What if Mahomes played for the Panthers? He wouldn't be as good as he was. People build a scheme around their
think
quarterback.
Panthers would be he would be as good in Panthers. To be fair, he wouldn't have the same issues. People
believe that the quarterback fits the scheme, but the scheme fits the quarterback. Shanahan has built this offense around Brock Purdy. Yes, does his supporting cast help him, but he makes plays to make the wide receivers look good. If you guys was telling me last week that Gardner Minshew was just as good because he was handing the ball off to Jonathan Taylor, and now you're contradicting yourself, saying that Purdy's not that good. When did you see the throw he made to Ayuk? Did you see the throw he made to Debo? Did you see the throws he made last week? He is just as good as other people.
Shane, can you bring that back in, please, mate? Can you not?
I know. Sorry, but my apologies. Firstly, please do not speak ill of the God amongst men, Mr. Gardner Minshew. and secondly, it remains to be seen how far Purdy can take the Niners the rest of the season. Do you want to talk about this huge matchup, this gigantic rematch gargantuan contest tonight, or do you want to leave it on Thursday?
No, we've got to preview it.
It's Wednesday this week. Just a little thing.
You know what I mean? I'm too used to it.
It's a Super Bowl matchup.
I don't think it's going to be that big. I think the Eagles are going to blow out the Chiefs.
I don't. I really don't. I'm not.
My money is legit on the Eagles.
I do think the Eagles are going to get revenge, and I do think Eagles will win. But I don't think it's going to be as a blowout as you say. Chiefs always find a way of doing something. Always find a way, of extended plays. When you got the magician who is Mahomes, they always find ways. He always finds a way. He's brilliant. It doesn't, he hasn't got Tyreek Hill anymore. He's only got Travis Kelce really. Pacheco's coming in. Rashee Rice is coming in now, but he's not got this star class of wide receivers like you guys have got, or like Dolphins have got, or like you two, or even bloody the Eagles have got. But Andy Reid always finds a way. He is like Belichick when Belichick wasn't as stubborn and was stuck in his ways. Andy Reid finds a way and always will find a way. And I think it's going to be an overtime win to Eagles.
Here's
Yes,
my
mate.
issue. The Chiefs haven't beaten anyone yet. I know I always say you can only beat what's put in front of you, which is true. And they've not always done that, but they've not been tested against a good team like the Eagles, who will run the ball down your throat. And I'm not sure if the Chiefs defense is going to be able to stand up.
See, the only good team that the Eagles are beating are the Dolphins.
Yeah, but
That's true.
they can't beat anyone over 500.
Exactly.
Right, I
So the
think the
Eagles
most
haven't beaten
important.
anyone
Sorry,
good.
Ollie, go on.
I was just saying the Eagles haven't beaten anyone good.
I think the most important thing about this game, which you got to look at, is everyone in the Chiefs organization has been on a rest and relaxation. They've been on a bye week.
So
They've
is
been on a
KC.
jolly. Everyone.
So is Philly.
That's what I said.
So is Philly, though.
Every one of that. Yeah, can I do you mind? Everyone of that organization, apart from Travis Kelce, because we've all seen what he's been up to. So, that being said, in all honesty, I completely forgot that the Eagles had a bye week. So I think they're going to be even more rested and relaxed, and I think they're definitely taking the win tonight.
I just need Kelsey, Rice, and DeAndre Swift to score more than 19 points to win my matchup in one of my fantasy leagues, and I'm happy days.
Yeah, but you also need Pacheco and Mahomes to not have a good game for another one.
Is that against you?
Mr. Perrins, what do
Yeah.
you think?
Okay.
I mean, I was more devastated when I had the unfortunate moment in my life where I actually got to hear Travis Kelce and his brother do their version of Mariah Carey's "All I Want for Christmas," and it actually no, it wasn't. It was
Fairy Tale of New York.
Fairy Tale of New York.
New York, wasn't it?
Yeah, it actually hurt my soul listening to them be auto-tuned into making it sound relatively thematic. Actually, best case scenario is that there's just a massive earthquake in the middle of the field, and the whole
With Taylor Swift in the middle of it.
Well, yeah, maybe, yeah, like like in the Dark Knight Rises,
Yes,
when
it's
Bane lets off
definitely
that bomb. He lets off that bomb, and the whole pitch collapse, and like Hines Ward is the only one that survives. Yeah, that would be best case scenario for Monday Night Football for me tonight.
I mean, I'm still getting the Taylor Swift didn't get involved with Fairy Tale of Philadelphia, to be honest.
I'm not.
You already mentioned the Batman reference because Batman the Animated Series is back on Netflix.
Oh my god, I can't wait. I'm going to be currently watching that. It is one of the best Batman things ever. But basically,
I knew.
Being a 49er fan of all my life, but in most recent history, is let me think. The Chiefs and Jimmy Garoppolo broke my heart last year. Sorry, a couple of years ago, and the Eagles broke my heart last year. So I have no care for either team, but I do think that the Chiefs will win because, like you said, Hendo, Mahomes finds a way.
It does. It is annoying. It's annoying. Are you changing your prediction though? Because according to what we did on Thursday night, I went for KC. Mr. Paris and Mr. Hope went for Philly, and you also went for Philly. Are you changing?
Yeah, I'm changing it because no, keep it with Philly. Kansas. Kansas.
Toss a coin, boy. Toss a coin is easier.
I'm going
more decisive.
Kansas. No.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. As Baby Hope said earlier on in the show, we are doing a special show on Wednesday night, a one-off Wednesday night show because it's Thanksgiving and, we don't want to take your eyes off football on the telly instead of looking at our wonderful mugs. Well, my ugly mug.
We want to watch the football too.
Yeah. And I've got coaching, so, it's good.
And
it's
just to remind you guys, there's games on Thursday and Friday this week.
Oh yes, we have Black Friday. Yes, we do indeedy. Yeah, it's a really good week coming up for football. We've got 4 days of football. Sky have now got the college games as well, so we've got literally 5 games of football on the bounce.
Fixture TBC versus fixture TBC,
Yeah,
as they said on Sky Sports. And then the late game on Saturday, I believe, is Florida State going into the Swamp to play Florida.
Rupert Murdoch is catching at straws at this point.
Mate, you've got to get yourself into college football. It's brilliant. Ladies and gentlemen, this podcast will be live on Spotify and any other any other devices that you use to listen to us when you don't want to look at us, which I don't blame you. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, we will be back Wednesday night. That's Wednesday night this week on your screens. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, stay safe.